You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Paranormal Pride. We will visit only with the best investigators, location owners, demonologists, researchers, inventors, authors, mediums, psychics, and enthusiasts. Anyone with a love or interest in the paranormal, the supernatural, or the unexplained will be meeting here on Mondays at 8 p.m., 7 Central. Welcome, everyone, to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore. I'm your host for tonight. I hope everybody's having a great night. I'm going to tell you guys it's been an eventful week for us here at WBHM Digital Broadcasting here in Birmingham, Alabama. Our producer, Kat, has become a grandma again last week, and she's going to become a grandma probably during the show. So don't be surprised if we make an announcement during the show that she's become a grandma again. So this one she's been waiting for. This is her girl. So she's waiting for that granddaughter to come. So we are very excited while waiting for her. So if you guys could say a prayer for easy delivery, that would be greatly appreciated, because we all know how hard it is to get those babies into this world. We wanted to come in crying and screaming. And after that, we want it not to be crying and screaming. But that's the way it goes. So you guys, please say a prayer. So I'd like to welcome everyone for the last show of 2018. So that means, you guys are going to have to listen to some repeats and some other stuff. I'll make sure that I get some things uploaded out there to the other website that I have. But, you can always come right back here to WBHMDB.com and find all the archives to all the shows, so that if you're missing something, you can find the previous shows that I've done on this network right here, and scroll back and even find shows from the other shows, and find out that you like Kat's show. It's really good. And that you'll find out that you like Shelley Burke Robinson's show. And I hear it's really good, because when I listen to it, I usually have to listen to replay because I'm usually running around with a baby. But it's really good, so you guys ought to listen to that. So tonight my guest is Julie Griffin. I've had her scheduled a couple times, but we've had some issues. Not just because of her, but because of me. So we've had all kinds of things happen that kept us from getting together. But she is a really interesting guest to have. She is a ghost photographer, and that in itself is unusual. But she's also a medium and a paranormal investigator. She's actually a psychic medium. And she's an author. She has a book. And her book, you're not going to believe this, is endorsed by Andrea Perrin. So you guys need to go out there and check that out. So welcome, Julie, to the Paranormal Pride.
Hi, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm really happy for you to be here, because I know I heard an interview on Haunted Road Media. Heck, that seems like a long time ago now.
Yeah, it has been a bit. A couple, 3 months more.
It's been more than that, because that was back before August, because I was supposed to have you on in August.
Oh my gosh.
I was in another network. So, and it didn't happen. But, things happen for a reason. And so we're here now, and this is even better than it was before. So how did you get involved in ghost photography?
Well, the simple answer is it just kind of happened. Beginning of 2009, I decided that I wanted to learn how to go and investigate. I've always been interested in the paranormal. I grew up in 2 actively haunted houses in Ohio, as a teenager. And it was always really positive stuff. So, because it happened almost exclusively during the daytime. So it always had a very positive twist. And I just decided I needed something new. I found a group to go and learn properly with. And technology I'm okay with, but not super great. But I had my camera, and that I know. And I just went out, and that's what I focused on, was just the camera. And to my amazement, I was getting really good captures almost immediately. I mean, I began working with this group in January, and I got my first solid captures on my first night investigation in April. And it just exploded from there. It's been quite a while to wrap my brain around what was even happening. It's been quite an adventure.
I bet. What type of were you getting ghost pictures with any type of camera or a certain type of camera?
I have a regular camera. What I had been using for a lot of years is a Nikon P as in Paul 80. And part of it is the technique. That's where I believe a lot of my success comes from. I take a lot of photos. And before I decided to go and start learning with a group, I'd spent a couple of months just listening to podcasts, just learning about it and about places and techniques and who else is out in the field and just learning in general. And the one thing that I had picked up was that always take 3 photos of the exact same spot, because energy changes and moves as it manifests. And you might get something in one photo, not in another. I've had quite a few where I've caught something solid in all 3. And that just makes your evidence so much stronger. Even if you only have it in one and not in another, you can go and say, no, that is not a spot on the wall. That's not a camera strap. You can go and rule things out by having the multiple shots. But when I go out on an investigation, if it's a really great spot and I've got, 4 or 5 hours, I've got a limited window type of thing, I try to do 100 shots an hour, which sounds like a lot. But when you think about you're taking in groups of 3, it doesn't sound quite that crazy. But part of it is by the volume, the number. That's just how you raise your odds in general. But the one thing, if nothing else, always take 3 shots, no matter whether you're using your cell phone or whatever kind of camera, but you don't need anything fancy. And I had the camera set on automatic everything. I let it do the thinking. And instead of using the viewer on the back, I like to use the eyepiece. So all my peripheral is blocked out. And I think about not where the middle of the picture should be, but what are the edges? And you just follow your gut. You just follow your instincts. And whatever gets my attention in the tiniest bit, that's where I take my photos. And that's kind of how I've just been running with this over the years.
I have a question in chat that might go along with that's going to go along with this well. And
Sure.
Everybody has their take on orbs. What is your take on them? This is from Carl.
Okay. I'm not a fan of orbs because quite often they are dust, moisture, pollen, some kind of an artifact from the camera, whether you're using a flash or not. Now, it's not 100%. Nothing's 100% in this field. You do get times where you get, I call it a ball of energy, where you just get light, just pure light. That I have captured a few times. But when you look at it, if you see a hard edge, a nucleus, concentric circles, that's classic for dust. Mm-hmm. It can also come in many, many colors. I've seen them in white, in yellow, in red. It's a hard call. A lot of it is just practice and looking at them again and again. Or if you get a shot with many, many, many in it, that's dust. That's just the nature of how it forms. But that's pretty much my feeling on it.
Like I said, I've seen many light anomalies.
Yes.
I've seen them with my own eyes. So That rules out dust. No
Yes.
camera, just my eyes. And then I was
Yes.
able to catch the same light anomaly on a camera when I saw it with my eyes. And video,
Absolutely.
which is unusual, because a lot of times if you can see it with your eyes, you can't see it with the camera. Why, I don't know.
I don't understand either, because everything that I've captured, I have never seen with my eyes. I never have. But I have caught light anomalies, and that's what you're looking at. Look at the texture of it. If it's relatively smooth, if it's not round, if it's oblonged or has, not a round shape, but it's pretty much looking for the brightness of it. And again, the texture. It'll have more of a smooth, I don't know if matte finish is quite the word that I'd want to use for it, but the surface will be kind of even and even a little bit translucent sometimes. But yes, you can pick up light anomalies, absolutely. But those are different. That's spirit energy. That's the real deal.
One of the questions I would have is, if it looks like, well, it's not a question, that's probably more of a statement. If it looks like a snowstorm, it's dust.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So that's always helpful for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will sit there and argue all day long about orbs. And whether or not it's an orb or a light anomaly or whatever, your chosen word for it, because that's the thing. Everybody calls this phenomena, whatever it is, calls it something different, but and it is something different, because
you really have
dust is dust, water's water, and a light anomaly is light anomaly, but we don't tend to call it what it truly is.
A lot of it is really scrutinizing, really looking hard at what you've captured. And you really have to kind of go, and if you're not sure, you kind of have to err on the side of caution. There's a lot of photos out there that aren't real, and I get no pleasure out of telling somebody that, it's dust. It's not, because people get so excited when they think they've made that capture, and it is a big deal when you do. But it's getting familiar with looking at what you have and being able to, kind of fine-tune the differences. Because when you've caught a light anomaly, it is bright. It is pure. They tend to be pure white. Sometimes you'll see rays of color coming off of them. But again, if you've got that hard exterior, a nucleus, concentric circles, that's dust. That's dust, pollen, stuff in the air. That's what you have to learn to discriminate between, to know which is which. And that comes from just looking at a lot of photos and looking at the differences. And sometimes it is a very hard call, but you can rule an awful lot out that way.
I've had, being a tour guide, it doesn't make you an expert, but when you're a tour guide at a haunted location, people bring you all of their pictures and they ask you to look at them. So I had that for 6 years. People bringing me stuff and asking me my opinion. And of course, you don't want to take somebody's enthusiasm and dump it down the toilet.
Right.
So you spend a lot of time going, that's an interesting picture. Without ever making a statement saying that it's not something else.
It's a hard line. It is. When you've got somebody like that, I understand all too well.
Because in a lot of cases, if they say, "Hey, I felt something when I took this picture," it's kind of hard to discount their feelings. Do you ever feel like, "Hey, I need to take this picture right here, right now of this"?
Oh my gosh, yes. That's a lot of how I go when I'm taking photos. Is I'm drawn to an area. if you go and take a look at the photos that are on my website on ghostlyphotographs.com,